Make your Xenos stand out. Spiky Bits. Hey, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and we are back in it again, looking at some resin bases. Elrik's Hobbies sent us over this mostly ginormous. I mean, it's not that big of a box, but when you figure it's full of resin bases, you're like, oh, okay, that's a big box full of resin bases. So they sent us their newest design, and I think you might recognize these. So jumping over to ElriksHobbies.com. Now, Elrik's is always my first stop. Whenever I'm working on a new army and I'm like, yo, I need some dope bases, I go to Elrik's Hobbies first, always, and see what they got. And, you know, I don't always find it here. There's plenty of my armies that are different bases, but this is my one stop, my first stop, rather, to check out bases and kind of get inspired for my particular hobby product. And they have a ton of stuff on here. You know, it's definitely understandable. So the newest, well, I guess it was on the front there. Their newest design, you obviously recognized it. It's they're called Tomb World, which make great Xenos bases, and they have them in, you know, just like normal, all sorts of different varieties. Their sizes, I'm not even tracking anymore. I'm like, what is this? What size is this? I don't even know what this goes to, but they got it already, which is dope, because, you know, there's nothing worse than getting a model and then you're like, crap, I need a base for this. So what I do is, and I'm atypical, so you don't have to do this, but when I start an army, I'm always like, all right, let me get some extra bases, right? Let me just get a 3-pack of this size or something like that. And I always buy a little bit extra, and I paint them along when I do my big batch run of bases, because it's easy to paint bases when you're doing them in batches and you're doing them with the airbrush. And then, you know, you always come back and you're like adding squads. And if you just have the bases done, it's super easy, because then you just glue them down, right? It doesn't always work. Sometimes I need, like I predict with Titanicus, I was like, oh cool, new knights are coming out, and they put them on 50s, so G-Dub tricked me, but no big deal. I still was able to get some 50s and get them painted up for my Acastus class Titans. But, you know, it's not foolproof, but it is probably one of the best ways to future-proof your armies right there. So you can see, they never show the drop down, but there's basically there's 25, there's 28, there's 32, there's 40, 50, 55, 1, 2, 3, 3 sizes of 60 mils, 2 sizes of 65 mils, which I forgot, and painted up a 60 instead of a 65, and I'll show you why that's important here in a second. 80, 90, 100, 130, 160. They got 4 different sizes of ovals, and then kicks it up to the 105s, which is your flying stand round oval base / Dread Knight. 2 sizes of those. The 120s now by 92s, the new size oval. The middle size ovals, I think those were first for the Orc Speed Freak vehicles, and 150 by 92, which is the newest oval size, and then kicking it up to the big baddie 170 by 105, which is your knight size oval base. And of course, you know, you got your 160s, you got your 130s, you got your 100s, so all of your circles are accounted for too. So there really isn't anything I can think of. They even got the 28 millimeters. Right now, I can't think of anything that they don't have a size for. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's very hard to find out there, for sure. 100%. I definitely respect the hustle on Elrik's to get all these bases done. Here you can see they designed these. This is the first time, I think, that they actually designed these in three dimension, you know, on the computer, and then actually printed out masters. They cast them in Resin, obviously, but these are super crisp bases, super crisp. I'm going to show you. As soon as I got them in my hands, I was like, wow, this is new. Look at this. This is incredible quality stuff you just don't see out there. And here you can see, as I'm scrolling through all the different size bases that I just named right there. So enough of my talking. ElriksHobbies.com if you want to browse through and check out all the other size bases. I would say a good portion of my armies use Elrik's Hobbies bases. Okay, so wow. They sent me that big box. It's pretty much every size. I picked through and I grabbed the ones that I thought were the coolest looking, or something that we could kind of show you some miniatures right here, how they look on. And they even have these objective markers, which I'm going to take a minute to show you here in a second. You probably saw it in the opening right there, but these are pretty neat too. This is kind of a new thing for them, and I hope they continue to do this, because it's kind of like an accessory for your bases that really help out your army, right? So, I mean, dude, check it out. Like, these are just so crisp, and you can see like the bevels and everything there. Like, it's so flat, you can put all your models like pretty much wherever you need here. Now this is a disguised flying base. Like, did you see that? It looks like a Anka or something like that, but it's actually got the flying stem little spot right there. And if you haven't seen this before, what you can do is just get you some blue tack, put a little blue tack in there, and then put the flying stand down. Like if you're using, you know, the traditional flying stand for like the night sights or something, and then you can actually pull the stand right off, and you don't have to glue it down, because these things are a nightmare to actually store with the flying stand on it. Now, truth be told, and Elrik might not know this, because I just realized that when the Battle Forces came out, the night sights actually come with a new flying stand, the new little arc kind of thing, and it has a cross adapter at the top. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't use it on this. It's just a little bit easier. You can magnetize it and do some other tricks with it. It actually might fit in right here, now that I look at it, but I don't have one on me to kind of compare. But I mean, all these styles are so fresh. Like, here's the 100 mil here if you want to put your Satan or something on it. There's plenty of room right there. And what I think is probably the neatest part is that you could, you know, like all these guys pop off, right? If you're using the Indominus duders, I didn't glue these down at all, right? So you can just, once you get them together, if you only have them just popped in on a base, you can kind of place them and figure out where the optimal placement is. You could even drill out, if you really wanted to. You don't have a hex drill, but you could drill out and actually drill these into the base, or you could glue them straight down, whichever. I mean, these just look very striking, and if there's little bits of rubble and things around it, you could always use, or you could cut them off if you don't feel like painting them, or you could use a little bit of this resin sand from Liquitex, which is really great stuff, and it's great for filling in kind of the transfer point between little piles of resin and bases here. I used it in my Guilliman and Abaddon, and all of the models that come with all this terrain attached to them from Games Workshop, if you want to blend them seamlessly into a base itself. And that stuff's really good. You can get it at any of the hobby stores out there, probably Amazon as well, I imagine. If you can't get to the store, they probably have you covered. Now, I messed up. We painted the 60 mil because I forgot that Dude Man here, Mr. Scorpec Lord, Scorpec Champion, whatever he is, I don't even know. He actually goes on a 65. So I thought it'd be cool. I'd be like, oh, check it out. We can put the big guy on it, but he's just a little too chonk. But that's all right. You kind of get the idea right there, using that super, super poppy glow that Kenny at Next Level Painting is so famous for right there. And you just kind of doing out some Blackstone kind of look, and then the Necron kind of glowy bits, so to speak. So, lots of different sizes. I don't even know what you use these for. And you're probably like, why do they make every size? Well, besides the fact that, GW could eventually come out, assuming you're using these for your GW models, could eventually come out with pretty much any size out there. Say you wanted to put like a different army on these, like say your Ultramarines are fighting the Necrons. Well, then maybe you just want to put all your Ultramarines on this because they're battling the Necrons. So you put little bits of Necrons all around the base, like they got all smashed up and stuff like that. Or maybe your Death Watch, maybe your Guard. I don't know. Even Sisters, they seem to be in vogue right now, fighting all sorts of evil alien robots. This guy matches up pretty good and still got the peg there. So if you're using a lot of the Indominus stuff, which I guess the Warriors are actually, this is the Warrior kit, just get your drill bit out and just drill in a little bit, or use your Dremel and make sure you're wearing face mask and stuff like that for your Dremel, because you don't want to breathe in this resin once you start breaking it apart. Probably wash your hands afterwards too. And I like this. This is something new from Elrik. These are like objective markers, and they come with these little winglet bits, which I don't know where they are. I lost them. I didn't lose them. They're here in a baggie. They got these little winglet bits that actually go on to right here to kind of make it look like, very monolithy. There you can see where they go on, so it looks like it's kind of supported at the bottom. But the cool thing is the symbols match up, and the symbols have a key, which you can learn probably pretty quickly. I mean, it's not hard. They have little dots, and the dots correspond to the number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, duh. I'm not going to count for you. This isn't Count Chocula. And you can either glue them down on it, which looks like it's a 50 mil. You can glue them down, if you wanted, or you just leave them off and they match. They can kind of match up right there. Or you could use these separately, on the tabletop. It's pretty neat. I mean, it's $15, but for 6 of these, I think it is. Yeah, 6 of these, and the little winglet bits. I think that's pretty neat little value, and just kind of something a little extra for your army. That let's face it. I don't want to. Let's call a spade here. Necrons, depending on how you paint them, can be a little boring, but having cool stuff like this to kind of go with your army definitely sets it apart from some of the other, you know, folks out there, or even, you know, just having something cool to kind of show people, hey, these are my objective markers, or this is my command points, or whatever. You know, it's just kind of a neat little thing that you can do just to be a little different. Also, painting your Necron super poppy, or at least the bases to kind of go with it, but not overshadow them, would be possibly a good idea too. So pretty affordable bases. I showed you all the prices. You know, the 25 mil start out at $850, I think, for 10 of them. And then it goes up from there. I think 32 mils are also 10 of them for $10, which I feel is pretty good value for bases right there. And yeah, you can, if you're doing a whole army, it's going to cost you a decent amount, but I've seen it cost a lot more from other manufacturers out there too. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking for something different for some of your 40K armies out there. I always really like showcasing Elrik stuff because it's you know, you can take a base like this and give it to 10 people, and they're literally going to paint it 10 different ways. And it's always cool to see what people come up with, and there's so much room and so many different things like you could do instead of that, you know, the poppy color. You could do like some teals and things in here, or even some marbling. I mean, the sky's pretty much the limit when it comes to these bases, and there's so much room for activities on these bases. Elrik's Hobbies, so much room for activities. That's it. I gotta stop. Check them out, elrikshobbies.com, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our terribly worded videos.